This is Science Together. Strange cases that cannot be explained. Can you believe it? On the day of the Ghost Festival, 5 young men met to burn paper money on the grave. But a boy suddenly showed a frightened expression. Ran like crazy into a crop field. Everything happened at that time. Glamour gasps. I feel like I can't breathe and I'm very afraid of this. The boy reappeared 3 days later. Has become a reasonable corpse. The father discovered that something was missing from the body of the deceased. He insists that his son died of murder. However, in the subsequent investigation, the police discovered 2 more things that cannot be explained by science. However, the final truth was beyond everyone's expectation. The crime occurred in Taiping Town, Jiangsu Province. But next, the story I'm about to tell is anything but fair. It happened on the Hungry Ghost Festival in 2011. 5 young people came out of the internet cafe early. For the first time, they went to burn paper on their ancestral graves. However, no one thought. In the process before burning paper, some people lost their lives because of this. Everything was normal at first. But then something strange happened suddenly. Then, Wang Weijie took Ma Jun to his ancestral grave to burn paper. The other 3 people were waiting in the car. Not long after, Wang Weijie suddenly ran out in panic. It's rare that he keeps talking in his mouth. That A Piao ran to Ma Jun. Exactly the same as the one yesterday. The 3 people were confused after hearing this. Just when they were confused, Ma Jun is back fine. Just when everyone wanted to ask what happened to Ma Jun. Who would have expected that after Wang Weijie met Ma Jun? Sudden expression of fear. His pupils seemed to be about to explode at that time. Then he ran to the side like crazy. The 4 friends were a little confused when they saw this. Hurry up and catch up. But at this time, Wang Weijie was completely out of control. Ran into a crop field. 4 people searched around to no avail. Then more than a dozen villagers were called in to help search. But I couldn't find Wang Weijie even after dark. I don't know what these people think. No one found. I actually thought that Wang Weijie might have gone home by himself. He also did not verify the matter with Wang Weijie's parents. And here, Wang Weijie's parents couldn't contact their son for 3 days. I'm almost going crazy with anxiety. Just when the family members are worried, a piece of news came that shocked everyone. A fisherman found a male body in the lake, floating face down on the water. Nothing unexpected. The owner of this male corpse is the missing Wang Weijie. My parents cannot accept this reality. My son was bouncing around a few days ago. Why did he die in the river inexplicably? Afterwards, Wang Weijie's parents learned about the situation at that time from the mouths of 4 young men. I think this statement is too absurd. I feel like things are not that simple. In Lao Wang's opinion, the oldest of these young people is only 19 years old. The youngest is 17 years old. They all like to surf the internet. I usually play all day long. Almost untouchable. How could you take the initiative to burn paper money for your relatives? This is too unreasonable. Besides, Wang Weijie is mentally normal. There was no unusual behavior before the accident. Why do you just go to the grave and burn paper? Just suddenly went crazy. Unexpectedly, Ma Jun and others broke the shocking news again. Remember what happened the day before the incident? Several people still looked shocked. It turns out they are on the lunar calendar. A strange thing happened on July 14th. 3 of them that day spend the day surfing the internet at an internet cafe. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Ma Jun drove Wang Weijie and Xiao Zhou back to Taiping Town. They were talking and laughing along the way. But suddenly at a traffic light intersection, Ma Jun slammed on the brakes. It turns out there is a woman in floral clothes, sitting on the road with hair down, next to the woman in the middle. There is also an old 28-year-old bicycle lying there. At that time, several people just felt puzzled. It was so late and the woman sat motionless in the middle. You are too brave, right? Ma Jun even muttered something about being crazy. Sitting on the road so late at night. What if I'm crushed to death? The other two people persuaded Ma Jun. Don't be like women. So the three of them continued on their way. None of them thought much about it at the time. After playing in Taiping town for 2 hours, they are hungry again. Several people also said they would go to the city for late-night snacks. Let's talk and laugh again and hit the road. But the next scene. But it scared them to death. Because when they passed that traffic light, the woman before, still sitting there motionless. Woman's long hair shawl covers her eyes. But that slightly pale face. But it's creepy. Take a closer look at that old bicycle. Who would ride a bike like that in this day and age? Several people looked at each other. They all shouted out "Ghost" at the same time. For a moment they were frightened and at a loss. Hurry up and close the car windows. My hands and feet started to lose control. Ma Jun took a deep breath. Close your eyes and step on the accelerator to pass the woman. No one dares to speak. No one dares to look back. Their spirits were tense to the extreme. After waiting for the bus to arrive at the bustling downtown area, only these few dare to look back. Make sure the long-haired beauty didn't follow you. Then I breathed a sigh of relief. But when I think about going back, past that traffic light again, they fell into great fear again. So they dragged their feet. Eating late-night snacks didn't end until after 1 a.m. I had to bite the bullet and drive back again. Nothing unexpected. That long-haired beauty, still sitting there motionless. What's even weirder is, there was a sudden heavy fog at that time. This situation. It looks exactly like the scenes in movies and TV shows. Such a few people were scared to death. My heart is about to explode. Ma Jun, who was driving, had weak legs. I was so scared that I wet my pants. Everyone else was almost scared to tears. Ma Jun tried his best to close your eyes and step on the accelerator. Passed by the long-haired Ah Piao again. Thank God. Ah Piao didn't follow. Shocked, they all stayed at Ma Jun's house that night. Ma Jun told his mother about this. At first my mother thought they were joking. But they were all so frightened that they couldn't even speak clearly. Only then did I realize the seriousness of the problem. So I persuaded them to find an expert to crack it. In the end, these people found Wang Weiji's grandfather. Because his grandfather is a fortune teller. The old man's idea is to make them zhongyuan, burning paper money on graves during festivals. That's why the scene at the beginning. But Wang Weijia's parents always believed that this is all nonsense. Lao Wang insisted that his son died of murder because of a small detail on his body. Make this bizarre case even better. Confused. It turns out that not long before Wang Weijia was killed, Lao Wang just bought one for his son. A ring worth more than 5,000 yuan. But Wang Weijia later. This ring has disappeared. Coincidentally, this ring. It's actually in the hands of one of the boys. But Xiao Zhou explained. He is not seeking wealth and murder. But before something happens, they all felt that Wang Weijia's ring. Very cool, Xiao Zhou offered to lend it to him for a few days. It's also a good idea to show off in front of others. After Wang Weijia disappeared, they were short of money and sold the ring again. Does this explanation sound ridiculous? However, in the subsequent investigation, the police but found these people have a bigger secret. Turn out to be. They left the internet cafe the day before the Ghost Festival. Not back to town, but to attract fans in order to seek excitement. In the police's opinion, these so-called long-haired people It's most likely an illusion. Police guess. First time encountered. Maybe he's just an ordinary passerby. They were conscious at the time. So I don't feel scared. I had hallucinations twice later. But some people have raised questions. Why do several people at the same time have such hallucinations? Experts say it again. This may be some kind of hint at work. The final report on Juan Weijia's death showed that he drowned. There are no external injuries on the body. Rule out the possibility of homicide. Even so, Juan Weijia's parents. Or take the other three to court. Ask them to jointly compensate 100,000 yuan. The reason is that after Juan Weijia disappeared, they not only did they fail to notify parents immediately, he also sold the ring privately. If something abnormal happens to Juan Weijia, they promptly informed their parents or called the police. Maybe such an accident wouldn't happen. But the three young men were not convinced, claiming they never expected it to happen. Such an accident. Final. The court held that they failed to fulfill their savior duty. We need to take some responsibility for Juan Weijia's affairs. I hope they will jointly compensate the family members NT 35000. You say. Is this a hallucination or a supernatural event?